The Crit Show contains elements of horror, fantasy violence, and adult language. Content warnings can be found in the episode description. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Crit Show, where we are playing the Clockwinders. Last time, our heroes embarked on their new venture, heading towards the Halogi Forges to try and resolve the movement core there. Along the way, they unceremoniously dumped the ether witch known as Sevna in the wilderness with nothing but a boot knife, because they're rude and inconsiderate.
Well, I mean, she made it sound like she can just survive off of ether. And
maybe she's just
else.
like proud. Maybe she's like harboring a lot of shame.
Then she shouldn't have made people come attack us.
I don't know. I feel like you guys are really being inconsiderate. You all hit the some of just the forested wilds, the Killian River, and made your way into the towns of currently Moon, which is also part of a trio with Geth and Round, and met their patriarch, Conrad Gullivane, who has let you know that actually attitudes in these towns are a little bit hostile right now, and the forges might not be a super accommodating place at the moment because they think that some of the fire elementals have kidnapped somebody's kids. And that is where we find ourselves, still near the train chatting with Mr. Gullivane about this whole scenario.
So he said this. Does that ring a bell? Do elementals take people? Is that a thing?
Why don't you roll to overcome with lore to see what you know about them? I think you're trying to beat a 3. I think you're trying to beat good difficulty here.
Okay.
While he's making that roll, can I ask a clarification question?
Yes.
Last episode,
yeah,
you said elementals, and then you also said salamanders. Are those the same thing?
Yes. So think of elemental as like an umbrella term. And then below that is like fire elementals as opposed to like water or whatever elementals. And then below that is salamander, like a specific type of fire elemental.
So there's like multiple kinds of fire elementals.
Yeah. And so these ones, it's not like a salamander like we know it in real life. It's not like a little lizard, 4 legs. It is like a upright snake man with arms, but like a burning, the lower half is all like snake tail burning. It's kind of like a naga.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just like made o' fire, like all fiery all around them.
Okay.
Constantly.
Are they fire all the way through, or do they have like a core?
They are ether elementals, like they are just kind of made of pure ether. There's like a meat to them though, like they have like a flesh, but it's not like born of a womb is what I was going to say.
God,
I don't know why.
Is it meat or is it fire? Is all I needed to know.
It's meat with fire
fire
around
meat.
it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fire
yeah.
meat.
This is not hard to have.
Is salamander as a fire elemental, is that a common trope? Because no one else questioned it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's so many different variations on what that means. I was thinking, when he said that, I thought that these were just like big lizards that were also kind of on fire.
Which pops up a lot, like the older mythologies when they talk about salamanders, it's more like a dragon that's made of fire.
Yeah, I thought it was just a salamander that was breathing fire.
Listen, I'm thrilled because I thought we were going to have to fight these, and I don't want to hurt a salamander, so this is great.
Yeah,
This is great. This looks much more like a person and will be easier to hurt.
Yeah.
So Tass, what did you get?
5.
Okay. So that is a success. You get what you want. So what you know about salamanders, they are creatures. They are not like sentient's not the right word. I feel like we've come up against these terms before in describing other things, but like the ether spiders, right? Like they're intelligent, they communicate with each other, but they're not like a civilization like humans or elves or anything like that are. They are still like beasts.
More animalistic, no like culture to them.
Yeah.
Cool.
But it's not out of the realm of possibility that they would like grab somebody. It just probably wouldn't be that like tactically motivated or anything. You know, like they wouldn't like demand a ransom for a kidnapping, but they might snatch somebody because they want to eat them or because they felt threatened by them or whatever. What you don't think they would do is leave their like nest to do it. Like there'd be no reason for them to do that. So if these children were wandering through the forges, it's feasible that the salamanders might have taken them. If these children were at home or whatever, it's not very feasible that the salamanders would have come and taken them. The salamanders are just trying to keep their space.
They're like, we're not going to go out hunting people, but if one delivers themselves to our front door.
Yeah.
And they were intelligent enough, as Gullivain had mentioned, like they were part of the operation of the forges, you know, but like in the way that you'd have like a working dog or something. Like they weren't bartered with or negotiated with, but they like, you know, we reached an arrangement. We fed them or whatever. We gave them something they wanted so that they'd do something we wanted them to do, which was power the forge.
My God, that's unusual. Is there any history with these children of going off and exploring?
No, I can't say that there is. They're actually fairly reclusive children. I'm honestly not sure that I've ever laid eyes on them. I just hear them spoken about by their mother, but ever since they moved to our town, well, she seems a bit the paranoid sort, not like she would want to let them out wandering. I believe they primarily stay home and complete their lessons.
Well, that is just damned odd. Salamanders aren't usually the type to come out hunting and stealing folks away.
Yes, a similar sentiment to what your friend Keen suggested.
They're sharp. Well, we're going to be heading there either way. Now it seems like there might be a touch more urgency to this. The unfortunate part about all of this, at least unfortunate insofar as what I think some of your townsfolk are hoping for, if we do our job, it seems almost certain that we're going to need the salamanders on our side. But if they're disgruntled or bewitched in some way that's causing them to be aggressive more so than usual, we might have a whole new set of problems.
I would very much like to get to the bottom of whatever is going on and resolve whatever ire we have with the salamanders, and I would greatly appreciate all of your assistance on that.
Well, you've got it whether you like it or not.
No, it's wonderful that it might coincide with your goals. I'm glad that I don't just have to ask a favor of you all, but that I may be able to assist myself in some way.
Well, it would certainly help us if any of the more adventurous of your townsfolk, those that have entered the forges before, have any advice, easy access points, places where the salamanders are more dense or at least more active. Any information that you can give us would really speed us along.
We should also talk to the mother of the missing children. It could help us keep an eye out for them.
And, okay, so talking about all of this, like asking the townspeople what they know, could I use one of my stunts?
Yeah, which one?
Word around town. So it's +2 to a contacts roll to create an advantage to learn useful details about a town. I'm thinking like learning about the forges, but like through the lens of the town. So what people in town know about the forges. What's common knowledge?
Yeah, go ahead and roll to create an advantage. Using contacts, I think you're going to be trying to overcome just fair difficulty, a +2, because this is just going to be the things that like the general townsfolk know or need be concerned with about the forges. So it's not that complex of information.
3.
Okay, so that is a success. You will, in this case, create a new aspect with 1 free invoke. So what you learn is from the townsfolk who have like tried to go into the forges, who have tried to go treasure hunt or tried to go reason with the salamanders or whatever, they have found that the salamanders fiercely guard the visitor halls, like right at the front of the forges. They do not want to let anyone go any deeper than that. And they use like guerrilla tactics to do it. Like they will attack from cover and shit like that to demotivate anybody from going further into the forges than the visitor halls. So this aspect is nested in the visitor halls, and you get 1 free invoke.
Cool.
All right. So with that, we also had the idea of speaking to the mother of the missing children. Is there anything else you guys want to accomplish, or is that where we want to head next?
I could let them go talk to her, and I could seek out Keen.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll go with Maxine.
Okay. Let's start with you two then. Gullyvane lets you know, oh, yes, I imagine that she'd be happy to speak with anyone who might be able to help her get her children back. Her name is Doris. She lives just down the way. I can show you the way there.
We'll play a little good cop, bad cop.
Who's who?
I think we'll have to read the situation.
Okay.
It reminds me of the episode of Psych where Lassiter gets the new partner that's the old woman who failed the test like 30 times. But at some point she's like, they're investigating the convenience store robbery and he's taking notes and she's like grabbing him by the collar. And she's like, are you buying this? And he's like, he's the victim, Goochberg. We're going to good cop, bad cop, the victim whose children have gone missing. So you two follow Gullyvane a little ways down the road as Einon sets off to cross the river and head for Geth to find his friend. This town is a lot more put together than, for example, Willowdale. This isn't like kind of ramshackle structures built around what's already here. There are roadways through here and paths carved out and like flattened out. The buildings are made of timber and like everything is well constructed. It is like you have just supplanted a small village to the middle of nowhere via teleportation or something. So as you approach Doris's house, it is a little bit set back off the river. As far as like real estate in this town, it's like a sort of undesirable part. Again, not that any part of this town is bad, but it's just like, it's not especially close to the river. It's not especially close to like the shops at the heart of town. It's kind of off on its own, which Gullyvane had mentioned that like she is not a lifelong resident. He mentioned like since she has come to our town. So it seems like just she kind of got one of the houses that was built later and, didn't have anybody in it, as opposed to like the nice ones that have been passed down forever. But despite that, it is still charming. It looks like a little cottage. There are clear signs of like her personality, love put into this place. There are bird houses hanging outside and wind chimes clattering pleasantly in the breeze. And Conrad walks up the few steps to the front door and knocks and steps back to kind of rejoin the two of you. And a moment later, the door opens and there is a woman standing there. She is in maybe her 30s. She has very dark, long hair that is sort of streaked with gray or silver. She's got very dark skin, green eyes, and she is pretty humbly dressed like everybody is here. Just simple, functional garments. She's got a leather belt around her waist that has a hip pack and a drinking horn on it. And she kind of opens the door like a crack at first, like kind of timidly to look out and see who it is, and then opens it more widely when she sees that it is Conrad. She looks past Conrad at the two of you, but she addresses Conrad. She says, hello, what can I do for you today, Mr. Gullyvane? And he kind of gestures behind him to the two of you. He says, well, we've got a couple of visitors in town who are interested in the forges. We had let them know of your misfortune, and they were hoping to speak with you to maybe help in some way. And, she's still looking at you two. She says, oh, very good. Please come in. And she steps aside and invites you into her home. Gullyvane says, if it's all right with the two of you, with things being at a bit of a boiling point, I feel that I should probably make the rounds and see if I can't settle folks. So I'll leave you to it, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course.
Very good. Come find me if you need anything.
Thank you.
And he heads off down the road. As you step inside, she gestures to the sitting room. There is like a little love seat sofa, a couple of comfortable looking armchairs, and they all encircle a coffee table. She gestures to the chairs for the two of you, and she sits down on the sofa. It's nice to meet you. My name is Doris. Who are you?
Maxine, Hollis.
Arkady Atwater.
Well, I appreciate any help that you might be able to give me. I've been so worried. What is it exactly that you do? How do you suspect you might be able to help?
Well, we're clockwinders, and we were going to go to the forges anyway. And Conrad said that maybe the elementals there possibly took your children.
Is this like you, the player, have forgotten, or is this a player inflection or a character inflection?
I don't think Maxine is comfortable. Like, I think she was like, and then it makes sense to go talk to the mom and get information. And now that there's like an actual sensitive, like, hey, this requires some delicacy, she's like, I don't know what to say.
Okay, yeah, she says, yes, they've gone missing. My two children, Ila and Mihika, they have been gone for days now. And when they disappeared, I found cinders and char outside of the house, and it seemed like they led back to the forges. And I have to assume that it was one of those salamanders that came and took them. They're so mad at the townsfolk, and there's been so much strife brewing. I believe that they decided to take action and try to hurt us for threatening to hurt them.
Where was the last place you saw your kids? Like, was it in the bedrooms? Like, where do you know where they were taken from?
The last place I saw them was here, and she gestures to like where you all are sitting. They were working on their studies when I went down the street to get groceries, and when I came back, they were gone, but the char was not inside the house. It was outside, as if maybe they had been lured out or had gone out of their own accord and been taken. I've always encouraged them to be so careful and to stay inside. This is a nightmare. This is my worst fear.
How old are your children?
Ila is 10 and Mihika is 12.
If they were going to leave the house, of their own accord, like you said, how would they do that? Obviously, they would go through the front door. That makes sense. This is their house. But, like, what would possibly lure them out? I mean, if you always tell them to stay inside, and you were gone, was there anything that they might be interested in that they would both go outside for?
I can't imagine. They were not prone to flights of fancy or vices like sweets or anything of the sort. I can only imagine that it would have to be the word of someone they trusted.
Can I look around, like, as they're talking, just kind of look around the room and see, like, there are these children that don't have flights of fancy. Like, the thought of just very mundane children.
Sad beige clothes for sad beige children.
Does that seem represented by the, like, oh, they were working on their arts? Like, is there drawings? Is there, like, what's the vibe of the house that I've seen so far?
Just taupe watercolors.
Yeah. Suns in the sky of paintings with no smiley faces.
I think this is going to be an overcome with investigate. Not very difficult. I'm actually going to say like a 1. I think on this.
2.
Yeah, you see like a few arts around the room that seem to be ascribed like one to one child and one to the other, and they are extremely similar and also very like they're like still lifes, and they're like good ones. You know, there's a lot of books around. Like there are shelves just full of books that seem to be like academic texts. There's not a lot of whimsy or anything in the house. From what she's describing, these kids are like real straight-laced, do good in school, don't care about fun very much, and like, yeah, there's not a lot of signs of fun around the house. It's not like a dungeon.
Yeah.
It is still like cozy.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a lot of whimsy.
Okay. Yeah, I will go back to like listening to the conversation, a slight weight in my heart.
Yeah, she goes on. They wait for me. They wait to hear my voice before they unlock the door again before I return home. Where we lived before this, it was not very safe, and it has led me to be very nervous, and I fear that I put that weight on my children, but I just want them to be safe too, and it is just uncharacteristic of them to take any risks that would put them in harm's way.
Okay, well, that's very helpful, and I'm sorry for... I was going to say I'm sorry for your loss, and by that I don't mean that you have lost your children. I mean that your children are lost. So I'm sorry that they are lost, but we're going to do everything that we can to find them. Can I borrow this book?
My eyes are just growing larger and larger as she talks.
And Doris's eyes are welling up with tears as she talks. What book?
Just... I'm going to pick up
book?
a random textbook sitting around somewhere.
Yeah, you pick up just like a trig book. And she's like, yes, I suppose if it will help you in your investigation.
I think so. You've been incredibly helpful, and I think we have a much better chance of finding them quickly than we did before. So we're going to go maybe start on that now. Kade?
Yep.
Okay, good luck. Please keep me informed if anything turns up. Anything at all, please.
Yeah? Okay. Well, I I don't know if we'll be in a position.
Walking her out the door and just closing it behind us.
Okay.
Somebody will tell you.
All right.
Are you okay? Okay, just sit down, take a breath.
What is this? Oh, Trig.
Yeah, read that.
Okay.
I want to look around the house real quick for these signs of like char to see specifically like, oh boy, there's a giant snake track, or hey, there's footprints here.
Yeah, you do a sweep of the perimeter, and it's actually out the back door, which points more towards like the forest into the woods. That you do find that there is a large spot of char, large kind of roughly circular spot, and a bit of a narrower kind of trail of it that leads into the woods and like in the direction of the forges. It has to loop around because it would have to like cross the river, but it doesn't carry on super far. The trail of char does eventually just kind of fade into the normal growth of the forest.
Oh, is there anything in that area? Like, my thought is these things are on fire. Like, they made that area of char. They went away. Like, why would the fire stop?
Yeah. Maxine, while Kade is looking around, what are you doing?
I'm with Kade, actually. I'm like looking at the trigonometry book. I'm not really taking anything in, but I'm just like, I'm here. I'm somewhat useful if I'm needed, but I'm really just kind of gonna look like I'm doing something right now.
I think that this is going to create an advantage with Investigate, trying to like reveal a truth of this situation. So I think create an advantage with Investigate, and I think this is going to be a little bit more difficult. You're going to try to beat a 3.
Okay. 4.
Can I spend a fate point to bump that up to a success with style?
Yes. Which of your aspects are you invoking to help?
I think leave it to the professionals. Just the two of us out here scouting things out and like trusting that like Kade's got an eye out for things. He knows what's up.
Okay. Yeah, spend your fate point. So that will bump Kade up to a 6. So Kade, I think what you determine first, what is revealed to you in your observations are the ads.
Man, that was some good stuff. I think I'm going to buy a lot of that. All right, let's go back.
As you are looking around trying to piece together what's going on here, it doesn't quite add up. If this was the trail of a salamander, as you've speculated, they're on fire, so it should continue to be charred. There should be a char path on the way in. There should be a char path on the way out.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't even thinking about the way in.
Additionally, if they picked up a child, it would hurt the child very badly. And it doesn't make sense from the description why a child would follow one of them. So I think the aspect here is the clues don't add up. That something is fucky here. This kidnapping is not what it seems or what people seem to believe it was, or the story that you are being presented. And that comes with 2 invokes because you succeeded with style.
Okay. Maxine, this doesn't make sense. Einon told us that these things wouldn't do this. She said the kids would have had to follow, but there's no like tracks here from a kid. There's only a burning snake track partially here, and it's only one way.
So you think someone made it look like a salamander's? It's a frame job?
I mean, maybe, or maybe it's like something that can, I don't even know why that would help, but like if something, I mean, we've seen a shapeshift in Fae already. Like if it was like, I'm a thing and now I can look like one of these, but I don't know why it would want to look like one of those. But it's just weird that like the big base of the fire is at the back door and then it leads away and then fades away.
So there's no fire trails. Are there any other type of trails?
Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that doesn't seem to be like wildlife in the woods.
No.
Well, I can't imagine why the kids would want to leave. They've got more books than I've ever seen in any house, including my own.
Yeah, and they, by the R on the wall, they seem like the kind of kids that would just eat that up.
I'll just say it, dweebs. We're talking about some
Nerds.
grade A nerds. Grade A dweebuses here.
God, that's good. I haven't heard dweeb used successfully in a very long time.
Like Jake's like, I'll say it. I'll say what we're all thinking.
These kids are dweebs.
I see it on all your faces. I'll stand up.
I almost said like, oh no, they're nerds. But then I was like, no, Maxine would love this.
Yeah.
Can we do a quick sidebar? In your guys' heads, what are the difference between nerd, geek, and dweeb?
Ooh, not even going to add dork in, huh?
I didn't think about it, but if that one is also distinct for you,
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious. To me, a nerd is more of like a pop culture-y type of thing.
No.
See,
Geek.
and I hear people say the opposite, that geek is more of a pop culture
Geek's a pop culture thing. A nerd is like math and science and like.
And I would have those the opposite.
I would too, based on what I was called growing up.
I'm with Megan
for the
on
last
this.
time. I'm sorry.
Like, Revenge of the Nerds is about a bunch of real smart people.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them are. See, even within the nerds, though, they have levels. Like, I'd call Booger a dork
And
more than a nerd.
What of the Geek Squad? The Geek Squad is about like computers and tech knowledge.
Exactly.
See, I've always heard that it is not a classification, but more of a specialization. So, like, a nerd is someone with a wide knowledge, whereas a geek has like a focus.
A specialization
Yeah.
of dorkiness, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, nerd is somebody I
Fascinating.
think who would prioritize studies and learning and knowledge and not as much like entertainment.
Yeah.
But then I would think that a dweeb and a dork are more commentaries on behavior and attitude
Yeah,
Yes.
than
Yeah.
like knowledges or anything.
For sure.
All to say, good thing we're not any of those. Right?
All right, now roll your dice in our imaginary world.
This is the second time in just a few episodes where we have defended our not being nerds on our podcast.
I bring a particular kind of insecurity to the table.
But yeah, we will take that knowledge and head back to Kade. I'm Kade. We'll head back to find Einon.
All right. Jumping over to Einon. You head across the river, just like just swimming.
I walk.
Just walk right on top of it
Nope, underneath, down the bed.
like a pirate of the
Yeah,
Caribbean.
exactly. Come up the other side.
Just Terminator straight through.
Yep, I'm very dense.
There are a couple of bridges constructed across, to kind of get from one point of the triangle to another.
Yep, I admire the structures in the water as I pass underneath.
As you pass underneath.
Yep.
You wave hello to the troll that lives down there. You don't have to solve his riddle because you didn't try to cross the bridge.
Yeah, exactly.
He says, game recognized game.
Which is funny because that is feasible to happen in this world.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've got to clarify that that's not true.
Yeah, hold on. Let me decide real quick. Is it true? Absolutely. He begs you not to tell anybody.
Yeah, I give him a fist bump and a nod and continue.
But you head into the village of Geth, which looks a little bit more like rustic, utilitarian. This is the town of trappers. Everything is a little bit more frontiersy, I guess, is maybe what I'm looking for.
Yeah. A lot more raccoon skin hats.
Yes, everyone. Every single person's got them. Every pet.
Every raccoon.
Every raccoon.
It's maudlin. But with just a little bit of asking around, you are able to find your way to Keen's house. It is a sort of like a cabin. It's up on stilts a little bit. You got to climb a ladder to get to the front door.
Nice.
And you give it a knock, and you hear some commotion inside, like some shit getting knocked over as somebody moves by. You think you hear a cast iron pan hit the floor. And then the door is thrown open, and there is Keen looking at you. Who is this? Tell me about Keen.
They are a very athletic figure with long, extremely curly hair. For the most part, their clothes are, very form-fitting and simple, good for, movement out in the woods and so on, tracking. But accented with snakeskin boots, belt, and vest that are worn but very good quality. And just, kind of would be pale if it weren't for the fact that they are out in the woods a lot. So it's just, just this athletic little form.
Okay. They throw open the door and flip their long curly hair back out of their face so that they can see you, because it was just kind of a mess hanging in front of their eyes. And there is a pause for a moment, and then they just wrap their arms around you and gable grip in the back to squeeze you into the tightest hug they are physically capable of. And your back cracks a little bit. Feels pretty good. They say, Einon, you son of a bitch. How you been?
Oh, you old so-and-so, that was quite a pop. And I hug them back.
Come on in. We're just making ourselves some supper.
Outstanding. How are you?
I'm fabulous. I'm living the dream out here.
Yes, I caught your last letter. That was what, 3-4 months ago, something like that.
Whatever that means. Don't understand the passage of time.
Clock months, sorry. 44 moon spins ago.
Oh, clock months. That I understand perfectly.
What a lovely little town. This seems like the sort of place you would thrive.
Yeah, we got a good ecosystem, both literally in terms of like the critters that are out here and I guess still kind of literally, but just the interactions between these three little towns. It's pretty good.
Yes, we just met Conrad. Seemed like a lovely fellow.
Oh, swell fella. Yeah, he's in charge around here, but ain't nobody got any beef with that.
Well, good. That's a relief to hear. He seemed very earnest and just concerned about some situations. I'm here, of course, with the Clockwinders and looking to head over to the Forges, and it just seemed like there's a bit of disarray building in these little triplet cities.
They nod and let out like kind of a low whistle. You're telling me, yeah, some people have really got their hackles up out here. Lot of discontent. We was just talking about that, wasn't we, Vaughn? And Keen directs their attention to another figure who is sitting in here. It is a younger man. He's wearing a sleeveless tunic that's got a big hood, but he's got it pulled down right now. Pretty fucking cut arms, like solid delts, bro. And he's got some leathers, like a belt with a pouch and a cross body. He looks to also be in the business of like hunting and trapping. And he just gives like a silent nod in your direction. And Keen kind of turns to you and goes, I got me a protege.
How about that? And I'll walk over and offer a hand to shake. Einon Kerning, you look like you could certainly pull a bowstring.
He stands up and shakes your hand. My name's Vaughn, sir. Thank you. That means a lot. I heard a lot about you, and any compliment from you means extra.
Whatever they've told you, most of it is exactly right.
He laughs kind of nervously. Yes, sir. I've just been studying under Keen, trying to, become a better hunter and a better trapper, just hone my skill and contribute any way that I can.
And you are in good hands. I need not tell you, if you want to be the best, just keep your eyes open. And I'll turn back to Keen. Speaking of which, I trust your eyes more than I trust my own. Things seem a little odd with the short report that I got from Conrad, and I'm concerned about all this talk with the salamanders. Have you seen anything odd? Have you been to the Forges at all?
They shake their head. Don't got me much cause to go to the Forges. No critters hang around there. Any that do get slurped up by the salamanders, so ain't good hunting or trapping out there.
Fair.
I've heard the report. Folks saying that a couple of kids across the river got snatched by them.
That doesn't seem odd at all to you?
No, it do. It seems uncharacteristic to me, but this whole arrangement is sort of uncharacteristic. It's out of the ordinary anyway. Having these three towns and being so close to the Forges. I mean, not that we're like super duper close, not like a stone's throw, but a short hike out there. It seems weird to me that they would venture out, but it's also weird to me that they're just holing up in a man-made area, not nesting in something more primitive. So, I don't know, maybe they're growing, maybe they're getting smarter and deploying tactics, but, that's not really my area of expertise.
Yes, that's fair. Well, I suppose I have a very small favor to ask you, if it's even something that might be something you've heard. I know that discontent seems to be building, especially surrounding this supposed abduction, but I imagine most of the people I'd like to speak to would not approach Conrad, him being the leader of this town. If they are planning something, if anyone's wanting to put together some sort of attack, who do you think I would speak to? I know you've got the best eyes in the business, but I'm hoping to rely on your ears. What are people saying that people like Conrad aren't hearing? If telling me isn't life-threatening, that is.
Keen is like standing by the hearth, stirring some sort of concoction in a big cast iron kettle. And by concoction, I mean food. It smells good. It's food. It's not like a potion.
Okay.
But they kind of gesture like with an up nod over towards Vaughn again. They say, I've been spending most of my time out away from folk out in the woods, but Vaughn's been around town a little bit trying to ply his trade and whatnot, learn from some other folk too, so he might have better information for you on that. Vaughn? And Vaughn says, yes, sir, I'd be happy to tell you anything that I've learned from folks around town.
Yes, I suppose it's just a curiosity it's an itch at the back of my mind that I'm struggling to scratch about all of these things happening at once, and just I'd love to hear the scuttlebutt, whatever it is that you think people are whispering to each other in secret about all of this situation.
Yes, sir. Well, from what I can tell, each town has a pocket of people within it that are particularly upset. Each one of those pockets seems like they kind of have a ringleader, somebody who's being their voice, and you're kind of getting everybody riled up. Over here in Geth, it seems like that's Radigan. He's one of the older, more grizzled hunters. Got himself a bit of a violent temperament, in my opinion. Quick to anger and quick to throw down. Seems like he's kind of fired up for a fight. Just down the way in Round, I'd say you want to talk to Ben Saul. She's one of the farmers, got one of the bigger plots out there. She seems like she's exceptionally nervous about if things go bad and we wait too long, what's going to happen to her trade, and she would rather be proactive about it. Honestly, I don't get back across the river that much to Moon, but you might check with Sam, the merchant. He's also got ears kind of everywhere. He visits all the areas, so he might have some dirt for you.
All right. Radigan, Bansal, Sam. I really appreciate that, Vaughn. It's good hunting.
Thank you, sir.
I want to ask you personally, son, have you interacted with the salamanders at all?
No, sir. They don't drop a pelt or any edible meat, so they're no concern of mine.
It's probably for the best. Most beings like this are reactionary, and many of them have long memories. For good or ill, I hope that helps you in some way.
Thank you, sir. I'll keep it in mind.
So, Keen, is there enough for 3 in that pot?
Shoot, there's enough in there for the 2 of us for the next 8 days, so I suppose we could spare some of it for you. You want the regular cornbread or the jalapeno?
You know I like spicy.
Come on, get you a plate.
And I'll sit down and just shoot the shit and tell them all about what's been going on and the Clockwinder expansion, and just fill them in and hear what they've been up to and just all of that while I know the other 2 are out doing their investigation. And then after a little while, I'll head out when I think the timing's about right to try to meet up with them.
Okay.
I think that when he starts heading back to Moon, he finds the 2 of us trying to answer the troll's riddle together across the bridge.
Yeah, and the troll is like, he looks like a Kilroy, like he's kind of up over the edge, his nose is over the edge of the bridge, because it didn't occur to him that other trolls do this on bridges that like pass over not fast moving water. So he's just doing his best,
holding on,
and he's like, What gets wetter as it dries?
A towel. Come on over.
Nice.
He lets go and floats away.
He lets go. He starts to float away, but the rope that he's got tying himself off becomes taut, and it's like he's jet skiing. It's like being towed behind a boat.
This troll can party. I like him a lot.
But he's so tired. He could party if he wasn't just so tired.
If he wasn't just always in the water.
I feel that so hard.
Yeah, so the 3 of you meet up just out and about in the streets of Geth.
I don't think those kids were taken by the salamander.
That was certainly my opinion. What gave you a firmer grip of that?
We went and saw the house, and there is what looks like a fire snake trail, but it starts at the house and leaves the house, but only goes a couple 100 feet or something, and then just goes away.
So, something either made itself transform into a salamander and then back before going into the woods with the children, or somebody just set it up to make it look like there was evidence that a salamander had been there, and it wasn't ever. But either way, we're fairly confident that the children weren't just carried away by one of them.
Yeah, because that also would have, burned them.
That's very true. This whole thing is concerning, because if they came to steal children, I mean, I hate to be morbid about it, but they wouldn't just take prisoners. They're animalistic. I mean, they wouldn't take a human prisoner any more than they would take a squirrel prisoner. There's a lot of growing discontent. Obviously, we've been made privy to that, but the why outside of this abduction, the fact that it's been building over a certain amount of time, strikes me as incredibly odd, especially for something that, largely speaking, just keeps to the forges and only gives anyone any trouble when they're breaking in and searching around those creatures' lair. I have a mind to either keep an eye on or speak to some of the folks that are sowing a bit of this discontent. I got a few names.
Oh, yeah? Like people who are sowing the discontent with just the forges being nearby?
Yes, I suppose. People that are fed up with this quote-unquote growing violence or the things that the salamanders are supposedly doing. It just doesn't all seem to match up at all, does it?
No.
Part of me has an inkling that somebody knows something valuable is within those forges, but they don't have the strength on their own to get in and acquire it. This is, of course, an early draft of this theory, but that very possibly someone is trying to sow this discontent stronger and stronger to build a little bit of an army to go in and clean out the salamanders so they have a clear way to acquire what they need. Certainly a way to do that would be to kidnap some children. Blame it on the elementals.
Well, if that's true, where are the children?
A lovely question.
I wonder if we can find any kind of records here about like what used to be in the forges.
Yes, I meant to ask either of you your opinion on to what degree the salamanders might have worked within the forges, simply helping with the forge work, the fires there? Or was there something about that heat, something about the forges themselves that helped to power and keep the core working properly?
Yeah, how much do I know about the history of Hologi forges?
Why don't you roll to overcome with lore? And I think this will be fairly simple. Let's just call it a 1.
8.
Damn.
That's a shitload.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I rolled the correct dice this time, too.
All right.
Well, you will get a boost, so enjoy that. That's for you.
It just occurred to me before a couple episodes ago when you rolled the wrong dice. Did you still roll 4 of them or only 2?
2.
Okay. I was hoping that you didn't roll 4d6 and only get an 11. But it would track.
Yeah, yep.
So what you know is that the salamanders were like the heat that powered the forges. They are ether creatures. They feed on minerals and rock, so they were just able to subsist on the things that existed down here. And in turn, they supplied the power to run the forges. And the forges were home to like a lot of the great masters of weapon craft and armor craft. Just if you wanted a quality choice item, you were looking for one of the smiths at Hologi. Now that there is nobody operating the forges, they've just kind of been left with nothing to do. So they're still able to subsist, but just, again, it's kind of like taking the job away from a working dog. Like, they don't have anything to do. They're just going to do them. They just are going to, well, okay, we're going to keep our space, and don't you come fuck with it anymore.
Like taking the herd away from the sheepdogs, but now they just have to live here and hunt and live in a pack, huh?
Yep.
Okay, so, but just not necessary to power the core.
Nope. More like byproducts of the core.
Cool.
The salamanders were very instrumental in the running of the forge. All of the weaponsmiths and master metal workers worked with the salamanders to do their job, but now that they're not there anymore, the salamanders don't really have anything else to do, I think. I imagine there's probably some fancy weapons and maybe armor or something left there, and maybe that's why people keep thinking there are treasures that they can break in and find, anything that was left behind, but the salamanders didn't have anything to do with the core.
Makes a great deal of sense. It's so simple. If many of these folk are trying to sneak in to treasure hunt, I mean, supplies, weapons, that's as good as treasure to anyone.
And look, I mean, we've already discovered that the cores, they redistribute power. Like, maybe that's why there's an issue in the first place. Like, if this thing is in disrepair, maybe the forge isn't working right anymore. We get it working, maybe some people come down, start working again, the salamanders will be fine.
That's true. I wonder at the manner and strength of the potential leak in this core and how that might affect the nature of the ether-built elementals as well.
Oh, I didn't think like elementals, they could be affected by it too.
Yes. I still certainly don't think that they're responsible for any kidnappings, but I wouldn't be surprised if we discovered something unusual about their makeup or behavior. Well, what do you all think? Should we just simply head to the forges first, see what we see, get an idea of their behavior, if we can find a way down to the core itself without dealing with the salamanders, or should we be looking around town for these children?
I don't know. It's like if we can make our way down into the forge, it might solve the problem. But if we don't know like why it's happening, maybe who's doing it, we could be walking into a trap. Like they might have stuff set up there to intentionally like make the salamanders mad, or who knows what we could stumble across.
I think first getting proof that the children weren't kidnapped and taken to the forges. If we go and we can get past the salamanders and get to the movement core and fix what we need to fix there, having the knowledge and the certainty that the children aren't present will help us narrow down who might have actually taken them.
That's true. Like if we are trying to find these kids, if they happen to be in town somewhere as opposed to having been stolen by the salamanders, we're going to just go door to door for 3 towns?
Also, maybe the kids are there. Maybe they weren't taken, but maybe they followed whoever or whatever it was that was outside their window. I know the mother said that that's not something that they would normally do, but we just don't have any information to go on.
It's true. I just, I've got in my head that Conrad, leading this town, was appreciative of our arrival. It strikes me as interesting to see how these names I've been given will interact with us. If they will be appreciative of the fact that we might be able to help at the forges, or if they'll balk at our involvement in some way.
What if, because we don't know, what we don't know, what if we just go down, try to do our job, and we don't tell anybody? That way they don't, set upon us. Maybe we just go tonight when the mayor and the town thinks that we're, asleep in a hotel.
That's a really lovely idea, Kate, except for the fact that we've already kind of announced ourselves. These are small towns. I'm sure word's gotten around.
Oh, I just mean that they don't know that we're going into the forge yet. They think we're in town, but we're in the forge. That way we don't get some group coming up behind our back.
Well, I'm just saying, I feel like if people who don't want us at the forges know that we're here to go to the forges, they're likely keeping an eye on us.
I think it will be very telling if we interact with any of these folk and they seem less than welcoming at the idea of outside help searching for these lost children.
I agree.
Yeah, all right.
First name I was given was Radigan, I believe.
Are you looking for Radigan's home?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I think similarly, with a little bit of asking around, you get pointed in that direction. It is a more isolated, built into the ground-ish, like a mound-like home. But you give a knock and there is no response.
I'll call out once or twice. Are you home? Einon Kerning here of the Clockwinders, old friend of Keen.
Yeah, you don't get a response and you don't hear any commotion inside or anything.
All right, then, I'll turn back to them. We could always check pubs, ask around if anyone has seen him. Of course, they're all bloody hunters. He's very likely out.
Do we split up? There are 3 of them. Each of us could try and take one to track down.
That's true. I genuinely don't feel like we're in individual danger from these people. But if either of you don't feel that way, then I'm more inclined to stay together.
You said that first part with a question mark.
Do you think they would dare hurt a clockwinder?
I don't, at least not in a meeting like this. We are here on good faith. They have no idea that we have an inkling that any of them might be involved in something less than truthful.
I'm going to be honest. I don't love that you're not very confident in the answer of just saying no. So I think we should stick together.
Yeah, I for sure think they might hurt us if they maybe kidnapped children.
Well, yes. Fair. This is precisely why I ask. If we're uncomfortable, we're staying together.
We are now, yes.
We weren't before you started talking. Now we are.
And I'll head back towards, like, the more populated area of Geth to see if there's, like, a pub.
You want to break into his house?
Oh.
I mean, we're here.
I mean, we certainly could.
I just don't know. Like, what's the line? Well, maybe it's open.
Why don't you take a look?
Yeah. Just put my hand on the doorknob, turn it.
Okay, yeah, you just try to open the front door of the grizzled and violent trapper. No, it's locked. Sorry.
Oh.
He's a survivalist, not an imbecile. He locks his door.
It's locked.
You've done a little bit of the manipulation of mechanical apparatus.
Well, now.
Einon's like, are you sure it's locked? Maybe you should check again.
Is it locked for me or is it locked for you?
Yeah, I'll check the door.
Okay, I mean, this seems like textbook burglary to me.
Yeah.
So
it's been a lot of years.
Technically, it's breaking and entering. You haven't burgled yet.
I thought I was out of this life.
They dragged me back in.
Thought it was out.
Go ahead and roll to overcome with burglary and trying to beat it too.
6.
Okay.
Good God. Okay. You get a boost. You pop the lock on this door and open it, and you are looking into a very ramshackle and kind of run down hovel. Hovel's not exactly right. This is clearly occupied by somebody who doesn't really give a shit. If it gets the job done, they're happy. So there is no like pomp and circumstance to this. Things are a little bit like grimy and dirty, but everything has a function in here. It's very, again, utilitarian, just kind of not very presentable to company.
All right, just a second. I'm going to try to sneak my way inside and not entirely close the door behind me, but leave it so that it looks closed if anybody walks by, and try to search the house real quick.
Okay. You creep around. You search the house. There is no sign of Radigan or any other occupant. Candles are out. You know, like it's not like somebody has been here. It seems like nobody is home. And you don't find anything suspicious. Or, I mean, you know, there's plenty of dangerous shit in here. You find plenty of weapons. You find traps. Some of them are armed, but it just seems like that's not for you. That's just a thoughtless thing. You find a fucking secret panel in a floorboard, but there's nothing like incriminating in it. It's just some fine chocolates and a silk robe. It's like shit that he's embarrassed of. But yeah, nothing incriminating. Nothing that leads you to believe that he's like involved in this plot or anything.
Okay. Is there, in the scan, like, we know that this is a rabble rouser. Is there anything in here that like indicates why he's up in arms about the forges and stuff? Has he got a pamphlet on his beliefs?
Dear diary.
Yeah. Yeah, is there a diary in with his silks and chocolates?
Honestly, no, I don't think there is.
Okay.
I think anything akin to a diary or a journal, it might exist, but it's not here.
Oh, okay.
It's in his summer home.
It's probably on his person.
Yeah.
You know? Like, as far as survivalists and trappers and shit go, like, he probably keeps it on him so that he can document shit as he encounters it or learns about it or whatever.
I feel seen. Einon feels seen right now.
I don't want to create trouble for myself, but I don't, just in case. This is an experienced tracker. Should I roll stealth to not leave traces of myself here?
Yeah, if you're objective, like
I don't want him to know I was here.
Sure, yes. I didn't have you roll a stealth to get around because it was unoccupied and not dangerous, but if you want to leave no trace, I think, yes, that will require a stealth. So let's do an overcome with stealth. Yes, as you said, he is an adept hunter and tracker, so this might be kind of tough. Let's call it a 4.
5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Use your boost.
Yep, I'm gonna, before it expires. And it's called Just the Way You Left It.
Okay. I mean, you get another boost. You replace it with a new boost for succeeding in style.
Oh, that's right.
You cover your tracks. You are confident that it would be mighty tough to notice that you were here.
Okay. Yeah, I close the door, relock it. I can't believe how much I missed that. Oh man, that was fun. There's nothing in there.
Oh.
What do you mean nothing in there?
Like, it's just his stuff. There's nothing like incriminating. in any regards, whether it's to why he's upset about the forges or, anything to do with the kids or, it's just a bunch of, it's all very kind of utilitarian except for a little hidden space with some fancy things.
That is very disappointing. Radigan is by far the most sinister sounding of the names of the bunch.
If we're going by nominative determinism, he's bang on for being the bad guy here.
He's got the twirly mustache.
Yes. I guess if we have to go the other way on that, then Sam is the most likely target.
Look, and it could all just be hidden on his body. Like, I didn't find a journal or anything, and you keep a journal. Like, do most hunters, keep journals?
Oh, I mean, often, yes, especially for scribbling down notes on oddities, on things that we're hunting.
Yeah, so, I mean, any incriminating stuff could be on him, but there ain't nothing in that house.
I was really hoping the children would be there. Oh, well.
Okay, Einon, who's next?
Well, I certainly wouldn't mind checking in around a pub or something in Geth to see if he happens to be about. And if not, then on to one of the others, I suppose.
All right, I think let's kind of diffuse this into a contacts roll. Einon, why don't you roll to overcome with contacts? And again, I don't think this is going to be exceedingly difficult. Honestly, you're just trying to beat a 1. Like, people don't seem particularly secretive. There is also a aspect in this town that you guys have probably kind of picked up on. It is called a reverence for the clockwinders of old. So people here are actually just generally inclined to help you because you are clockwinders.
Okay, cool. Here we go. What did you say I have to beat?
A 1.
Oh, thank God, 2.
Okay.
Whew.
You stop in a few places, you walk around, you ask some folks in pubs and shops, and eventually you do get a hit. Somebody in one of the pubs who lets you know, yeah, I seen him earlier. Last I knew, he and a collection of folks were marching their way up to the forges.
Oh, well, shit.
And I think that is where we will leave it off
Oh,
this
man.
time. So thank you all for joining us for another episode of The Crit Show.
If you showed up 20 minutes earlier, you'd have caught him.
Oh, darn. What bad luck.
If he hadn't gone breaking into his house, we would have been here already.
Yeah, you missed him by, if I was going to approximate the time it takes to pick a lock. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you want more information on the Fate system or the Clockwinder setting and game, you can find that information in the episode description. If you want to see or hear or participate or interact with any of the other stuff that we have done, you can find that on our Patreon at patreon.com/thecritshow, where tiers start as low as $1 for access to the most welcoming Discord in the world.
And I'll tell you what, we have gotten some submissions on the Discord for the Clockwinder song.
Oh, that Ether Beaver played?
Yes. One of them recorded.
Yeah.
It's fucking banger.
Yep. It rules.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
Yeah.
Make yourself a member. And tune in next time for more of our special Clockwinder adventures. Everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, you dweebs.
The Crit Show is a Critshow Studios production, edited and produced by Brandon Wentz, with music by Jake Purley. You can find more information about us at thecritshowpodcast.com. To keep up to date with upcoming live shows, contests, and other special events, follow us at The Crit Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For even more weekly content, join us at patreon.com/thecritshow.